Hello there, Rob here, and we are in a brand new in town world that I'm in creative for. This is, of course, another Dev Diary video, so welcome back if you've been keeping up with the last two. Apologize, there's no real set schedule as to whether each video each day is going to be a Dev Diary video or a Let's Play video. I can tell you right now that the next episode in the Let's Play series is taking a little while. If you'll recall, in that I'm working on trying to get a bunch of Wither Skulls, and the process is much slower than I was expecting. So I'm going to take a break from that and release a Dev Diary instead. So let's go ahead and obviously the last two episodes of Dev Diaries were about the Land Rover update with new plots and double wide plots, rotating structures, railroads, all kinds of cool stuff in there. And by now that has of course been released. So now we're going to start focusing some Dev Diaries on the Dimensions pre-release, or more specifically what Dimensions will become as it nears completion. We're still a good ways away. There's about a third or so, maybe 3/8 of content really left that I want to create. Is 3/8 more than a third? I'm pretty sure it's more than a third. Yeah, it's definitely more than a third. So there's about a third to 3/8 worth of content that I still have left to do for this, but I wanted to get started on showing you guys what is coming, both for what's currently available in the pre-release, that is available for download right now on Planet Minecraft, and is compatible with 1.16.5, and also stuff that is in the beta release that is only available for certain users in the Discord by request, that is compatible with the 1.17 snapshots. Currently we are in snapshot 21W20A, which is the latest snapshot at the time of this recording. There isn't currently a beta out for this snapshot right now because there is a small Mojang bug that's making it a little bit tricky to play, but we're going to be avoiding that little bug that's occurring right now and focusing on some other content. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about in terms of dimensions and pre-releases, the Tyrant Saga, as I'm calling it, Kingdoms, Counteroffensive, and Refugee, what takes place in the overworld, the Nether, and the End, is going to have be called the Tyrant Saga and only be about half of what New in Town will eventually offer. Now, whether all this extra stuff is going to be roped into New in Town proper or made as a separate data pack that is an expansion pack is still kind of being decided based on, I suppose, what you guys would prefer. My plan was to incorporate into the base New in Town as one huge data pack, but if you'd prefer to have it be a separate expansion, please let me know in the comments below or in the popularity questionnaire below. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into things. If you're already aware of the Dimensions pre-release, then you know kind of how things get started. We're going to go ahead and build a mayor's office here. Recipes, recipe mayor. We're going to ignore that. So right now you build a mayor's office, you jump in, and you've got your mayor here, and he sells a fleet manifest and an excavation lease. And even if you're unfamiliar with the Dimensions pre-release, you probably built the mayor and been like, hey, what the heck are these? And also, why don't they work? You also have this book here with a crafting recipe, a single page to build a mysterious portal, which requires Dragon's Breath. This is one of the two ways to access the Dimensions if you have the Dimensions pre-release or beta release or in the end of the final release installed alongside New in Town. And allows you to access all of the new dimensions, specifically one of them, and from there you can get to the rest, and we'll get into that. The Fleet Manifest and the Excavation Lease that the mayor sells. Fleet Manifest only works if you have the publicly available pre-release or better, and the Excavation Lease only works if you have the beta pre-release available in the Discord, and they let you do new things in those dimensions, similar to building a town. We're going to go ahead and move on and focus on the dimension that you can't build anything for this Dev Diary video, the in-between dimension. There are two ways to access it, and both are going to remain in the final version. I wasn't sure originally but I'm actually pretty happy with the way it worked out. I think being able to access the dimensions before getting to the end and getting Dragon's Breath is important, especially if you're playing on a server and it would be more annoying to resummon the dragon to obtain the Dragon's Breath than just to go about the second method. So you can either build a mysterious portal using this recipe to have it aligned with your town, have more control over where and when it is, or where it is and when you get it, or you can go the second route, which we're going to go ahead and do right now. And that route is to kill a phantom in the overworld using a spectral arrow. We're going to go ahead and summon a phantom here that has no AI, just to speed up the process here. Kill that here. It's going to burn. I don't want it to die of fire. There we go. Now, we got a little bit of a text prompt there that tells you that some evil people have come through the portal, some portal dwellers, as they're called. And this occurs when you build a portal either this way or build a portal as part of your town with that recipe, and starts off the Dimension Saga story. Let's go ahead and take a look at the advancement tree here. So you can see, of course, we've skipped ahead quite a bit through the kingdoms and counteroffensive. This is where the split is intended to occur. You can either do the end or go into the dimensions kind of at your whim. So if we take a look here, we have, some of these are not hidden, which is interesting. Anyway, that's interesting. I'll explore that later. We have a Startling Foe right here. So build or discover a mysterious portal and fend off those who emerge. So this is something that you're expected to do at some point after the Grim Reunion. You can do it before. There's nothing wrong with that. And kind of kicks off this whole big tree that is going to be even bigger and makes up the Dimension Saga. So you take care of these guys. You've got 2 Pillagers, a Vindicator, and the Evoker here, of course, who decided to get stuck in the water. We're going to go ahead and take care of him at least. He does drop a Totem of Undying, so he's not totally worthless. And if you are prepared to face him, not too difficult a task by the time that you should be expected to build or discover a mysterious portal. Of course, discovering a mysterious portal in this way requires pretty deliberate actions. I think most people don't use spectral arrows without knowing that's what they're doing. So let's go ahead and take a look at this mysterious portal. If we go into the water in survival mode, we will be taken to the in-between. You'll always go to the in-between through this portal. This is the first dimension and the arguably most important dimension that the Dimensions pre-release data pack or whatever saga will offer. The in-between, as the name suggests, serves as the space between or the way to access all of the other dimensions. So let's fly around a little bit here. If you were to, of course, have your portal spawn here, then you would get some blocks and build a bridge over to this island right here. When we come along here, we've got some nice puddles of water here, some very beautiful trees and sparkles. We got llamas, sheep also spawn here, and of course all these flowers. Let's go ahead and come over here. The stone of this world, the base stone, is diorite, to kind of look almost cloud-like. And then, of course, we've got the beautiful colored grass and leaves on these trees. If we look around here, we've got some sheeps here. And looks like if we come over here, we'll come meet a different biome. We've got a little bit of a beach to transition into a sparkling glacier biome, which is made of packed ice, got some mossy cobblestone, and sea lanterns to brighten it up. The whole in-between is fairly peaceful. In the sparkling glacier, you can find polar bears, but as long as you leave them alone, of course, they're not going to bother you. In the in-between, most importantly, in all biomes, you are able to find more of these portals. You see one right here. There's one right over there, it looked like, I thought. Maybe not. Oh, yep, there it is. There's one right over there. There's probably one right over there somewhere. So these generate in every single biome. And this is how you access the other dimensions. The portal that you came in through is the only portal that's going to return back to the overworld, unless someone else makes a portal from the overworld to the in-between. All these other portals will take you to a random destination, one of the other dimensions added by the pack. So that portal happened to take me to the Tempest, which is a dimension of eternal storm. We'll explore this dimension in a future dev diary. It's the least far along in terms of both world gen and in terms of structure, so probably going to be much later on in the dev diaries. Let's go ahead back into survival mode and return to the in-between. Oh, see, this keeps happening, and I have been unable to figure out why. Let's come over back here. Suppose I'll fix this up for you right in front of you. So if we do tag at E, tag equals knit portal, distance 3, remove. I don't know why it's linking to the Tempest. That shouldn't be happening. Let's give it another try. Nope. I don't know why it's doing that. Do that again. And this time we'll add... This is the way the portals work. I might go into it later. There's really no reason that should be happening, and yet it keeps happening. So definitely still tricky business making these portals work. But regardless, in general, they work a lot better than just there. Anyway, let's return to focusing on the in-between here. Like I said, that was just a fluke. So you discover all these new portals that go to other dimensions, and then you can kind of establish a network between the overworld, the in-between as kind of your hub world, and then going to these other dimensions that you can then use the fleet manifest and the excavation lease in. And we'll go into which dimensions those are used in and how they are used in later dev diaries, but for now, we're going to focus just on the in-between. So let's go ahead and take a look at the biomes of the in-between. Of course, we've got the Woolen Woods, which is the most common. Generally, that's probably where you're going to generate your first portal, where you'll spawn in for this dimension. We've got a couple of transitionary biomes, namely the beach, which transitions into the Sparkling Glacier. Sparkling Glacier is really nice. Of course, there's ice, so it's very quick to travel over, and it's nice and wide open, so it's easier to find the portals, even though they are just as common here as in the Woolen Woods or the beaches. Beaches are also pretty wide open, of course, but they're smaller. In the Woolen Woods, you can find portals, as I said, just as frequently, but because of their coloration and just because of the thick foliage of the Woolen Woods, they are a little harder to find. Additionally, in all biomes except for one, instead of portals, you can sometimes find these towns, these ruined towns that seem to populate this dimension. So you can see a settler's wagon down here. This town happened to have a wizard tower and a bakery, and then 2 empty plots here. Obviously, it is very ruined, overrun. There's still some remains of what was here. We got a little bit of gold, a little bit of stone, some oak logs, and a settler's journal. And if we take a look here, it's a tattered journal written by someone unknown. We get the advancement, where are they now, for exploring the remains of a ruined town. So that begs the question, where are they now? We have what appears to be a journal entry from Slimesburg II, and it tells of the start of the settlement. They've established this town, one of many towns, and have discovered that there are other portals, but they prefer to stay here in this dimension where it is peaceful. So this is Settler's Journal number 2. There are, in fact, 7 entries, I believe. Yes, 7 journals. 7 Settler's Journals that you can find in varying rarities by exploring more towns. Oops. And exploring the rest of the town. So in this one, we get a journal entry number 3. So if we take a look here, it looks like they've been expanding, planting crops. They've got some more houses being developed on the way for more people to migrate from wherever they came from through the portal. So ultimately, by collecting all 7 of the journals, you'll of course get the advancement for a twisted turn. As to what that twisted turn is, you'll need to collect all 7 to figure that out, to discover why these ruined towns are here and why they are ruined. Who founded these towns? Where did they come from? And as the advancement begs, where are they now? So that is the main mystery of the in-between, and indeed the mystery of the Dimensions saga as a whole. You're not always going to find these towns, and you don't have to find these towns to progress through the story. These collection advancements are just completionist type situations. You don't need them, but they will tell you some very important lore about what you're doing and what you're exploring through all of the dimensions. So the story continues in all of the other worlds. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other biomes here. So we've got the Woolen Woods, as I said. Oh, there's another town over here. Let's see. We'll give you a good idea maybe of how frequent some of the journal entries are compared to others. Journal entry number 2, I believe, is the most common. We've got a journal entry number 5 right here. If I go ahead and, I think just setting it there counted it. Yes, it did. Let's come up into the wizard towers here and take a look at what we've got there. Oh, journal entry number 7. That's fairly rare indeed. I'm not even going to open it. If we come over here, journal entry number 2. Again, the pretty common one. I don't think we checked that other wizard tower, but that's okay. So that already is, I think, 4 different journal entries. So collecting all 7 isn't too terrible a task, but it will require visiting multiple towns and potentially getting some repeats of a few. The journals will also have more use, again, optional use, later on in the pack's development. But for now, they solely serve as advancements should you collect all of them. And there's a few examples of this that already exist throughout the pack as it stands now in the other dimensions, and there will be more added later. As I was saying, let's go take a look at some more of the dimensions here. So let's go ahead and locate biome, Nitdim, in between. Let's go to the wooded hills, which are more or less the same as the Woolen Woods. They are technically a little bit hillier. Oh, there might not be a really big one. Oh, here we go. They're a bit greener, a little bit more wild with their ups and downs. Oh, it's a very small one, so you can't really tell. And then there's a lot more sparkles as well. Beyond that, there's not really a whole lot of difference between wooded hills and Woolen Woods. We've got, of course, as I said, the Sparkling Glacier and Beach. So then let's go take a look and see. We'll go ahead and visit the battlefield. Before we check that out, we'll see what's at the border of the battlefield, which is an Outskirts Biome right over here. So the Outskirts Biome is going to be your transitionary biome from the Woolen Woods or Wooded Hills generally into the battlefield. So let's take this as if you were just escaping the Woolen Woods and coming into the outskirts. You've got some viney trees here, very stone or stony beach basically, and then you come through. I think some of these can be silverfish, I'm not sure. Some grass patches, still a little bit of water still, but then you get over here and you find this. You see the ash falling as you approach, and then you get closer. You see wither roses on the ground, graves peppering the entire battlefield, which is dark. The water dark with oil, dark with darkness, like blood from these wither roses. And let's see if we can get lucky enough. We got mushrooms walking along the mycelium that has been able to prosper here among all this death. And let's see if we're going to get lucky here and find the most important structure, arguably, here in the in-between. Let's see. If we come over here, perhaps. We've got all kinds of graves. We've got some with stone, some made of black stone. Now, we may not get lucky with this battlefield. Come over this way, perhaps? No, I don't think so. That is unfortunate. Let's see if we can find a different battlefield. So if we go to a Sparkling Glacier and then search for a battlefield again, is it going to take us to a different one? It is. So now let's explore this battlefield and see if we get a little bit different. Oh, I think it's a different one. Oh, this might be the same one. Yes, I think it is. Okay, let's go back to that Sparkling Glacier and travel out a little bit further, and then we'll try again. So let's go over this way. Got another town over here. There's not every structure is possible to appear here. Obviously, they have to be preset to have the correct loot that can appear in them. But you've got bakeries, resource silos, farms, wizard towers, and empty plots, I think is all of them. There might be one or two more. Let's come over here and try and find another battlefield that appears to be the same one. So if we go out even further, we're not getting closer to it, are we? No, we are getting further away, which is perfect. So we'll keep going this way. I'd like to find a naturally occurring one, but we will see what the game actually allows us to do. Oh yes, you can also find ruined portals in the in-between, that's right. So you can find ruined portals. Building another portal in the in-between doesn't work, by design, obviously. Is that big enough? Yes. Yes, you can only travel to the Nether from the overworld and not from the in-between. But these are standard ruined portal chests. You can still get your gold and your obsidian from here, so still very cool and useful to find. And tell a little bit of a story of their own just by happening to be there. You know, perhaps travel to the Nether was possible to and from the in-between in the past, and it is no longer. Who's to say? We've got another sparkling glacier over here, looks like, which is very interesting. Let's try and find the battlefield again. That is a different one. Very nice. And let's see if we can find what we're looking for here. Looks like a nice big one. Ah, there we go. So it looks like a pretty sparse one here, but this is, of course, if you have played far enough into Newtown, this is a drilling station that the Tyrant uses in his invasions. When he attempts to invade the end, this is one of the things that appears. And there can be even more. This is actually, like I said, a very small invasion force, it looks like. There will often be some of the portals either hanging above or crashed on the ground below. You might get some obelisks floating around, and sometimes even the platform that the Tyrant appears on, suggesting that he has been here before. The Tyrant has attempted to invade the in-between, but obviously was unsuccessful. Given the state of the battlefield there was a huge battle, perhaps in the distant past, and the Tyrant was unsuccessful in securing the in-between, but he did make it here and attempted to invade. Perhaps the settlers that were here before were able to push him off. Inside the barrels, if you do happen to find any, is the same kind of loot that you'd find on the trawler ships or indeed in the drilling station during the invasion. So you could get ancient debris, golden apples, TNT, your standard nether equipment or nether tyrant equipment. So that is the bulk of what the in-between has to offer. Like I said, it is mostly a traveling location, a travel dimension to get to the other dimensions by way of these portals that work more often than not right now, and I hope will be 100% functional by the time of release, once I figure out exactly why they occasionally do that. I will leave you by traveling through this portal, and hopefully proving that everything works just fine, I promise. If we step back through. Nice. So most of the time it works. I think it's just the Tempest that has a problem, which, again, I don't know why, but still plenty more to work on, obviously, in the development of this pack. But I think next episode, assuming that there are no more problems with Minecraft snapshots at the time, there's a strange bug that affects the buried ocean the most, which is very strange. But next episode, I'll show you a bit more of the buried or next dev diary that we have at some point. Show you a bit more of the buried ocean or the primordial desert. And then following that, we'll go over some of the structures that you can build in those dimensions, or in that dimension. So we'll focus on the structure for the next couple of dev diaries. Will be explore the dimension, show you the biomes that are in it, and then in a different dev diary following that, talk about the structures and story that exists for those dimensions, and then move on to the next one in future dev diary. So I hope you've enjoyed this short dev diary. Once again, I apologize for not really having a consistent schedule for these relative to the Let's Plays, but do keep an eye out for either. The Let's Play season is starting to wrap up, hopefully pretty soon, hopefully as long as I can get enough Wither Skulls in a decent amount of time. So once that ends, then there'll be plenty more content coming, more dev diaries probably, and then some other new in town related things like speed running and things like that come into the channel to fill the void before 1.17 releases and we start the next season of the new in town Let's Play. So please remember to keep an eye on that. Remember to like this episode if you've enjoyed, share with your friends, and subscribe to keep an eye on when new videos come out. And of course, you can get involved with the community by joining the Discord server and following me on Twitter. Both are great places to get good news or new news about what's coming to new in town. And, you know, just get involved. The community has grown so much in the last couple of weeks, and I am so grateful, so humbled to have such a wide range of people to talk about new in town with. I've said it before, new in town was really created it's how I like to play Minecraft, and it's really wonderful to see that so many people like the way that I play Minecraft and want to play in the same way. So I just hope that you'll stick around with me through this incredible journey as it continues to new dimensions and beyond. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.